Good afternoon and welcome. Glad you could join us. So let's jump right in talking about more Mac tips on Go for Lunch for August 6, 2024. I'm Roger Harmon, your host. This is brought to you by GoFor Technology, where we make your technology work for you. This is National Root Beer Float Day. Doesn't that sound delicious on this August day with a high temperature of 100 degrees? And you can see down here there's all sorts of different brands of root beer, including Dad's old-fashioned root beer. And did you know there is an A&W root beer stand in Tucson, inconveniently located at I-10 and Wilmot? So if you're in the mood for a little road trip, you could go there to get your root beer float, or probably any of the ice cream shops around town would have one. And of course, you could buy the ingredients and do it yourself in the comfort of your air-conditioned kitchen to celebrate National Root Beer Float Day. So this is a continuation of our series inspired by Allison Sheridan and her presentations at MacStock last month. So today we're going to explore more of the tips that Allison gave, and if you'd like more information on Allison and the podcasts that she does, you can go to podfeet.com. And Allison had a workshop on Friday of MacStock called Mac Tiny Tips, and that's where we're taking these tips from. And of course she would like to remind us that neuroplasticity is still alive and well, and we should be exercising our brains by not giving up on things, but trying them for 30 days, and then they'll become a habit. Allison inspired us with this quote that, "So the main thing is to keep learning. You want to keep trying to push your brain and try to learn to do new things." In the light of learning new things, let's look at a couple of tips here. The first one we're going to look at is moving on a web page. So you can use the command key and the up arrow to go to the top of a web page, and the command key along with the down arrow to go to the bottom of a web page. And remember, there is a command key on the right side as well as the left side of the space bar. So use the command key on the right side of the space bar because it's closer to the arrow keys. So let's see how that works. So here we are in the middle of a web page. I'm going to hold down the command key, hit the up arrow, and voila, there we are at the top. Then I hold down the command key, hit the down arrow, and we are at the bottom. So it's better than kind of scroll up here. But while we're on this web page, let's see what it has to say. See all that scrolling we had to do to get to the top? Oh look, iOS 17.6 problems. 5 things you need to know. So if we scroll down here, we hold down our control key and we scroll in, we can see that there are some issues with iOS 17. Now these issues are not just iOS 17.6, but all of the issues that have come along with the iOS 17 operating system. So you can see there's lots of little issues there. Some things could be a problem. We got some more. Let's see where they are. There were some more down here. Okay, I guess the list changed since I did this last. So anyway, you can see these might be some reasons here that you wouldn't want to update to iOS 17. we want to hope that there will be an iOS 17.6.1 coming soon that will fix these issues. And let me know if you've already updated to iOS 17.6 if you had any problems. So another tip is using column headings in the Finder. So by using those different column headings, you can sort by name, date, file size, and kind. So that is a good way to get organized in your finding your files and folders. So let's go and look at see how that works. So here we have our columns, and you can tell which one is the active sorted column because it's in bold. So you can see name here is in bold. And hi Chris, and Chris is not having any problems with 17.6. That's good. And then the other ones here are not in bold. So of course when you're in bold, name is in bold, so we're sorting by that column. And we can then go to date modified if we want to see something that we worked on recently. So we have the most current at the top. Then if you're trying to clear up some space, you can go to the size column, which will put the largest files at the top, so you can decide whether you really need those. And then of course another way is to sort by kind, and that puts all of the folders together, all the different types of file types such as PDFs and EPUBs and images all together, so you can quickly drill into the ones that you want to see. So that is another way, using column headings to find things in the Finder. So you can also find files and folders in a long list by typing in the first letters of the file or folder name. You can use 2 letters to drill in even closer, but you have to type them really quick. So let's see how that works. So here we are, and if we type a 5, we go to 5 secrets because we are sorting by kind, so we need to sort by name here. Now if we type a 5, we're already at the top. If we type a Z, as in zoom, then we go down to the bottom. Now if we type a 5, we go to the top. And if we type an I, we go to images. And then if we type real quickly a MI, so we're going to do MI, we go to mix. So you can see that's a good way to move around a long list of files and find what you want with the minimum amount of effort. So for some reason, in Apple's I don't know, wisdom, they turn off the scroll bars when you get a new operating system. So you can fix that. So you go to System Settings or System Preferences, you go to Appearance, and then in the middle there's a section that says Show Scroll Bars, and you have 3 choices. So let's look at that. So we're going to go to our System Settings. We go to Appearance right here. We're on Appearance. We'll zoom in by holding down the Control key. And we have it set as always. When you first get it, it's probably going to be set on automatically based on mouse or trackpad. And you want to change it here to always. So that way the scroll bars will always be available and you don't have to mess around trying to make them appear. So that takes us to questions. If you haven't already, type your questions in and we'll talk about those in just a second. And do me a favor and share the GoFor Gazette with anybody you know that has Apple devices so we can help more people. Mac OS Sonoma 14.6 seems to be stable, so I think it's okay now to update to that. And as we discussed, iOS 17.6 and iPad 17.6 have some issues, so you may want to hold off and see if Apple's going to bring out 17.6.1 to fix some of those problems. So let's see what you are talking about. So Leslie Ann says, is there a way to keep all of the headings in the Finder without going to expand it each time? You know, I have noticed that it does seem to compress the headings, and in preparation for this broadcast, presentation, whatever you want to call it, I've had to move it. If that's what I think you're talking about, it kind of compresses them in and I have to drag them back out again. If that's not what you're talking about, let me know. And Susan says, no problems with 17.6 because she didn't update, given that many problems she's with 17.5.1. Okay, probably good. And Chris says, that's cool about navigating with Z and 5, etc. Yeah, that's a real time saver. And Leslie Ann is still on Ventura 13. Is my Mac too old to update? Well, the way to tell that is you go to System Preferences and General and Software Update, and if it doesn't, whatever the operating system that's shown there is the one that your computer can take. So if it says 14.6, then you can update to that. The problem is sometimes when you update, so that's a couple of different operating systems, your printer won't work. So if you have an older printer, you want to check and see if they support 14.6 for your printer drivers. So if you have any questions on that, let me know. We'll figure it out. Chris says, a couple years ago, I got a simple Logitech mouse with a scroll. I use the scroll wheel for a lot of stuff, including zooming in with the control key down, so I don't need to worry about scroll bars. Well, good. And even saying that, Chris says he does leave the scroll bars on. So, yeah, I find that's a lot easier. So, great. Thank you, guys. If you have any other questions, you can always call me or email me, and that information will be coming up here in a moment. So, okay. So Leslie Ann says, yes, you always have to expand the Finder. Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't noticed that until the last day or so. So I don't know what's going on with that. But if you're, but I'm on Sonoma, you're on Ventura, and we're both having the same problem. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I'll kind of look into that and see what we can find out and let you know. So thank you all. Glad to see you here today. And we will see you next Tuesday at high noon for another GoFor Lunch.